how's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Audible Sportscast. My name's Jeffrey.
My name's Cody, and on this channel we talk about football and other hot sports stories.
We have finally made it. It is NFL week. The first games are starting up. We have Cowboys versus Buccaneers, Thursday night football. I don't know about you, but I am ready for football to be back. We have for you today pretty much an NFL preview. We want to give you how we think kind of the season is going to go before it actually starts. So by the end, we can either just say how right we were, or you all can say how wrong we were and laugh at us. I don't know about you, but I think it's going to be a pretty good season.
We'll see.
Yes, we shall. So let's just start right going into some divisions. So let's start with the NFC North. Who do you think is going to win the NFC North?
NFC North, Green Bay.
Yeah, I have Green Bay winning too. Wins a little bit down from last year. I think they're only going to go about 11-6. But I think they have this one in hand. The Vikings are going to give them some scares. I see the Vikings only being a game or two behind them, but yeah, the Packers.
Really?
Yeah, I have the the Vikings going 10-7. I feel like a lot of the games they match up really nice for, and I think they'll win a lot more and kind of be a little bit of a surprise.
The Bears will have a better chance than the Vikings.
I don't see the Bears. I have the Bears winning 5 games. I don't really see them winning much. I feel like that defense is going skyrocketed down, and that offensive line just won't help much either.
So what's the difference between the Bears and the Vikings defense?
The difference between the Bears and the Vikings defense isn't much, so to say. They both have, players on that at all 3 levels that can do things, but there's a lot of holes in between. The difference I see is
they have the same exact holes.
Yeah.
On defense.
The same, but the key difference here is the offenses.
I think the Bears are in a better shape on offense.
I would disagree with that a lot. Comparing their skilled players alone, and even the offensive line's in better shape right now. With the Bears are in kind of horrible shape with the offensive line. The second round pick they drafted to pretty much start at left tackle is already looking like he's going to be gone for the year. They brought in Jason Peters, but he's in old form is what he used to be, and I don't know, and I just have very little.
I mean, you got Adam Thielen, who's already having injury problems. I don't know. I can see the Bears doing better than the Vikings, because the Vikings are almost the same exact team offensively they were last year.
True, and
they didn't make it very far at all.
No, they didn't, but
and the Bears were definitely worse last year, other than their corners,
which is
and still finished above the Vikings.
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Dalvin Cook, who is about a better running back than David Montgomery and Cohen, but
time
we'll
will tell. Let's move on to the NFC South. Who do you have winning the NFC South?
Tampa Bay.
Oh yeah, I have Tampa Bay being best record coming out of the entire NFL, only losing 2 games. I feel like
they're the same exact team. They've only gotten better.
Oh yeah, they added some pieces in the draft that just add on to that defense. They drafted a linebacker there in the first round that can play all over the field, and then just anytime a Super Bowl winner gets to keep every single starter, you're in for not a rude awakening. You're in for there's not much competition I have in the NFC South. The Saints are going to be a pretty good team, but I don't think they're going to be, able to compete much with the Bucks for the division.
They don't have any receivers. They don't have much on offense other than I can't think of his name. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing though I like about, I mean, Sean Payton's a really good coach and can get a lot out of his players, so we'll definitely see how the Saints go. And I mean, Jameis Winston knows how to sling the ball. Yeah, he knows how to turn the ball over too. You know, the last season he started for the Tampa Bay Bucks. You know, he had 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions, but you know,
those years ago,
oh
and
yeah,
he's had LASIK since.
oh yeah, I feel like he'll have a pretty good year.
He's definitely a better QB than the other guy.
Taysom
Can't
Hill,
think of his
oh
name.
yeah.
Yeah.
Going down to the NFC East, I this might be a little controversial. Maybe not controversial, but with them winning as many games as I have them, but I have the Washington football team taking it in the East.
Mm, honestly, I think it's the Cowboys year.
I I'm I don't know why, but I'm not that big on the Cowboys.
I'll tell you how it's gonna be. Washington, they have Fitzpatrick. He's gonna play good for 4 or 5 games. That other, what's his name?
Heineke, Taylor Heineke.
Heineke. Yeah, he's gonna come in, and you know he's not good. So they're not gonna make it very far. I can promise you that.
The 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 thing I see though is everywhere else Fitzpatrick has been has kind of been he wasn't really ever wanted. Now they went out and got Fitzpatrick. They wanted him to come there, and I feel like that. I feel like he will shine with what's there. This is like the most weapons he's ever really had. And
You're saying he's never been wanted. He's been on half the NFL teams.
he's never been wanted as a day one starter. You know, most of the places he's went to and where he did kind of succeed, he wasn't even going into the offseason or mid-offseason being the starter. Like when he went to Tampa Bay, the only reason he started was because of issues. Jameis Winston had some
Well,
issues.
what other options does Washington have? They don't.
They there
They
was
had Dwayne Haskins. They let him go for obvious reasons, but they don't have very many options.
no, they didn't have many options, but that was who they went
And
with. There was other quarterbacks they could have taken in free agency. Cam Newton, who has relations with Ron Rivera, or Andy
so
Dalton.
he showed why he's not reliable last year.
Fair point.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick's reliable for a few games, but I don't know.
Not to mention that defense too. That defense can keep them into a lot of games that maybe they shouldn't win or maybe even can win because of it. Like
Well,
with
then the Cowboys defense has gotten nothing but better.
it's gotten better, but I still don't think it's at a good point.
Their offense is, I would say, a lot better than Washington's.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a division to keep an eye on as things go as the
Definitely
season
QB
progresses.
play.
Oh yeah, but
Dak is the determining factor on that whole division. So
definitely. So to finish up the NFC, let's look at maybe one of the more tough divisions in the NFC West. Who do you have taking the NFC West?
well, the 49ers. I think they're gonna be a surprise team this year. Actually,
Yeah, I
it's either them or the Rams. The Rams I'm very high on, but I do not know to be honest.
oh yeah, I
I
have
think the I think the Niners will come back and shock people.
yeah, I
They
don't
could honestly even make a Super Bowl run
yeah,
if they're fully healthy.
I'm pretty big on the 49ers too. I have the Rams winning the division, but it's very close. I have what the Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers all pretty much 3 games within each other. And I feel like it's just going to come down to a lot those last couple of division games and pretty much who's got the hot hand. It's going to be a tough division and just the Rams I feel like are the overall best team.
But the thing is, Rams and the 49ers are probably both top three teams when they're fully healthy in the NFC.
Yeah. Yeah, and anytime you have
But
top teams in the same division, it's tough.
those two I will probably go back and forth on, but right now I have the Niners.
So then, do you have which quarterback do you think is going to lead them to the division title?
Talking about the Niners,
Yeah,
Garoppolo.
yeah. I through my stuff, I have them switching quarterbacks about a little before midseason. They're gonna go. I feel like that there's a stretch of games I feel like they're gonna lose right before the bye, and I feel like it's gonna be a situation kind of like with the Dolphins, where at the bye week they switch quarterbacks. But
And they
we'll see.
shouldn't have. The Dolphins should not have done
Oh no,
that.
definitely not. That's the kind of difference with this and the Dolphins was Fitzpatrick was actually winning games, and then they switched kind of abruptly. Where now with the 49ers in this scenario, they're I think they go on a 3-game losing streak against some really tough competition that might just switch the tides for Trey Lance, possibly.
There's a lot of people saying they're gonna switch when they play the Colts,
That's possible. I can see it.
which is like week 6 or something like that.
Um, I believe so. It'll be interesting to see how the quarterback play goes for the 49ers because with that defense, that front seven, it's the you know one of the best, if not the best, in the league, and that offense has lots of weapons. And you know, Kyle Shanahan is one of the best offensive-minded coaches in the game, and can pretty much get anyone involved and have them shine. So it'll be really interesting to see whether Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo how they play and perform.
Yeah, I like Garoppolo when he's actually healthy, but his feet or was it his foot he hurt last
I
year?
believe, yeah, he broke his ankle. I
He
want to say
messed up his
twice.
knee too, or something
Yeah,
like that.
he had some leg issues multiple times throughout this season or last season.
We'll definitely have to see.
But let's 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 switch it over to the AFC. I feel like these a lot of these divisions are a little harder to kind of tell. There's a lot of good teams in all of them, but AFC North, who do you have?
Well, this is the toughest division. I honestly think it's tougher than the NFC West now,
I agree.
but I think it'll be the Browns this year.
I agree with that. I have the Browns going 12-5 and winning the division.
And I think the Ravens will be right behind them. I think the Steelers are going right for the. I don't know. They're bad.
I I, I had a
They're
hard.
not bad. You know what I mean. They're
Yeah, I know
going
what you
down
mean.
like hill.
Well, definitely. I feel like they're gonna lose a couple more games, but I see the Steelers still being a fringe playoff team.
Yeah.
I have the Steelers 10-7, and the Ravens just had a lot of tough games. I kind of went back and forth on, but I see the Ravens winning about 8-9 games, which is after seeing it was hard to see, but there was a lot of tough competition this year.
I can see the Bengals pushing the Steelers down to last,
Yeah, I mean,
to be honest.
yeah, I feel like the Bengals will, especially if Burrow.
Because
It's
they
gonna
both
rely a
have
lot on
horrible
Burrow.
O lines.
Yeah,
The Steelers O line is no longer good at all. Roethlisberger, he's still gonna start. He can barely move in the pocket anymore. He still gets it downfield, but
yeah,
I don't know.
it was hard not to just that Steelers defense is just I feel like too good to like not have them because even when Roethlisberger was out and they had Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges playing some games, they still went 8-8. So it's like I don't know.
Bengals have a really, really good secondary though.
Yeah, they have a few cornerstones on that defense. There's still a lot to they need to work on. I have the Bengals going 7-10. I feel like they're going to take a really good step up this year. It's going to just a lot depend a lot on kind of Joe Burrow and him coming back healthy and pretty much shining with what they gave him.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about the AFC South. When I was doing mine, I actually had the division winners coming down to a tiebreaker. And so between the Colts and Titans both going 12, I have the Colts through a tiebreaker winning the AFC South.
Mm, I don't think it's going to be like that this year. I don't know.
You think the Colts are going to take it through a landslide?
No, I think they're going to be a couple games ahead of them at least. I don't think getting just Julio Jones makes that big of a difference. It definitely does for offense, but their secondary's not good still. They did get Autry from the Colts, but he's incredibly overvalued. Um,
I feel like even without Julio there, that's a pretty good offense that can put them in a lot of games, even if that defense kind of slacks. Which I mean, the defense isn't that good, but there's definitely some pieces with it. But of course, comparing it to the Colts defense, which is a one of the top better defenses in the league, it'll be close. It's both, of course, have some tough schedules, some tough opponents.
which it could. I don't know. The Titans beat the Colts real bad the second time they played. First time the Colts and Titans played last year, Colts beat them real bad, so it's could go either way, I guess.
And then with the rest of that division, it's not well. I mean, do you have the
No, it's
Texans?
horrible.
Do you think the Texans will even win a game?
Yeah, I think they'll win a game, but nah, I don't think they will actually. If they do, it'll be one.
I have them winning one game, and it's their week one game.
The only games I see them potentially winning is against Jacksonville.
Oh yeah,
Twice they play.
and just kind of there's it seems like there's so much going on kind of around Jacksonville. You know, there's some controversy with Urban Meyer now with kind of what some stuff went down, but the team's not necessarily ready yet to be to win more games than they maybe should
They're
with their
nowhere
quarterback.
close.
Oh yeah. Oh and yeah, week one is Jacksonville Houston at Houston, and that's I feel like they named Tyrod Taylor the starting quarterback, and people kind of forget how good Tyrod Taylor is, and I feel like he'll win them that game, and that game only.
He's working with horrible pieces though,
Yeah,
because he was good with the Bills.
yeah.
I don't know.
Moving to the AFC East is probably my most questionable division winner, but who do you have winning the AFC East?
The Bills, and if you don't have the Bills, I swear
I have the Dolphins winning it.
they aren't. I can tell you that.
I see some big things coming from Tua. They gave him some couple.
Okay,
They gave him
Allen's still a better QB and a lot
maybe.
better weapons. Maybe no, definitely. I can promise you, the Dolphins are winning. They might make it to the playoffs, but the Bills are taking it.
I think it'll
I
be
could see
pretty.
the Patriots beating the Dolphins this year. That's no.
I have the Patriots, Dolphins, all and Bills all pretty much 2 games all in between each other.
Okay.
I that's going to be a tough division.
I'm
I
not.
feel like.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's gonna be not gonna be close, but
And what doesn't help or maybe does help is all three of those teams have really good defenses too, with defensive
and
minded head
offenses.
coaches. Well, yeah, but a lot of those teams are kind of their cornerstones are their defenses.
The Bills have one of the best offenses in the AFC.
Yeah, and yeah, their offense is really good. Just that defense has kind of always been the cornerstone, even years prior. And last year it kind of did take a step down, but just Sean McDermott has it's a very defensive minded head coach, and defense is kind of
Yeah.
what he has brought to them when he joined. Like those, a lot of those defenses when he first got there were really top 10 defenses, and
In the wild card game with the Colts last year, the Colts should have beat them, but it was bad coaching by the Colts, Frank Reich. So it could Dolphins could make it far. They got a good backfield. Um, People aren't very high on Gaskins anymore, but I think he did more than prove what he was last year.
Oh yeah, I feel like Gaskins will have a pretty good year, and not to mention they even went out and got um, Brown from the Rams, who will be can share the load with him,
Yeah,
and not to mention they drafted Jalen Waddle, went out got Will Fuller. I talked about last time with Mike Gesicki taking a big step. That offense has some pieces.
yeah. Waddle could be a breakout this year. There's a lot of rookie receivers that could.
Oh yeah, seems like there is every year. Just so many these amazing athletes coming out of college that are pro ready and just ready
I
to.
agree.
Yeah, but last but definitely not least is the AFC West, and I have the Chiefs winning the AFC West, having the second best record in all of the NFL.
Yeah, the other teams don't have a chance.
Oh yeah, they're the only.
A lot of a lot of people are saying the Raiders have a good chance of being something this year. And,
Yeah, I
no,
it was hard for me because every year you see the Raiders, they'll look like promising in the first half and then eventually just go on
they
this
aren't.
horrible losing streak.
That defense is still.
Yeah, the Chiefs are the only team I even have from that division making it into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Speaking of playoffs, how's your NFC seedings look or playoffs?
Well, I didn't write them down or anything, but I think the Bears could be a wild card game this year, like they were last year.
I mean, we
You
know.
don't see it?
I don't see it. We kind of talked last about how I don't have them being much promising, but
You're going off that Bleacher Report.
I'm going off of just how I looked at the game.
Yeah. Didn't you have them at 7-10?
I had them at 5-12.
Uh,
They just
you,
they have one of the hardest schedules in the league too. They have to play a lot of tough competition, and I even had to give them some upsets to put them at 5-12. Like I had them, I think, upsetting the Cardinals, which that's a game that could go either way, but it was tough for me to even get them to 5 wins.
yeah.
But what's some other wild card teams? That since last year they added an additional, so there's three wild card teams. And what's some others you can think of that you think might be a wild card team?
Honestly, the Cardinals.
Yeah, that's that's a really close one for me. I feel I kind of that whole division. It was hard for me to arrange it as.
I think the NFC West will have three teams in the playoffs.
I agree.
So I think the Cardinals will make it in this year. They've gotten nothing but better offense wise and defensive wise. They got JJ Watt. Um, they did lose what's his name?
Kenyon Drake,
No, the corner.
Patrick Peterson, who went to the Vikings.
Yeah, they lost him, but I think they're in good hands.
Oh yeah, I they're a really good team. It just so happens they're in probably one of the hardest divisions with some really tough teams to play, and I feel like they're gonna lose some division games that might make them miss the playoffs by a game or two. So
They could.
I have the Seahawks and 49ers being the divisional teams out of that. I it was hard for me with the Seahawks.
The AFC North did it last year, and
Another AFC
I think
team I
the
think will do it again too, but we'll get into that later.
why who are your wild card games
Um,
or teams?
my three wild card teams are the Seahawks, 49ers, and Vikings, which we went back
I,
and forth on the Bears and Vikings.
I'm not sold on the Seahawks anymore at all. I'm not.
I A lot of these, I kind of went back and forth on, but what came down to a lot of them was just kind of either QB play or coaching. And when you look at the Seahawks, Russell Wilson is still the dude, and I think he's going to
Wait,
be able to win them. He will be able to win them a couple games.
yeah. Well, who are your other teams?
The 49ers and Vikings going from the division, because I
Okay.
had the Rams winning it, very closely winning the division. So, the Seahawks and 49ers will be right behind them, and we'll take a couple of the other spots. And then I actually
So
had,
you think the Vikings will take that wild card spot from the Saints?
it came down to another tiebreaker with the Vikings and Saints. They both went kind of 10-7 when I was looking at the schedule. So it really came down to a tiebreaker for me. And it's tough. Some of these teams are still going to have like 10 wins and not make it. So it's really tough. Just who it's going to come down to a lot of these last couple games and who's winning, who's not winning. Like last year or every single year. There's always those games, those last couple games. It comes down to for these wild card spots. Like the Bears, for example. They needed the Cardinals to pretty much lose out. Not necessarily lose out, but lose some games they shouldn't have. Cardinals ended up losing some of those games and pretty much gave the Bears a chance that, 4 weeks before the end of the season, not a lot of people thought was possible. But let's move to the AFC. What are some of your wild card teams?
Well, I think the Ravens will be one. Like you said, AFC South with the Colts and the Titans. I think the Titans will be in the wild card,
Yeah.
and then I think the Dolphins will be in the wild card because I don't think they'll win that conference or division, not conference.
That's the Dolphins, correct? That you're talking about won't win their division.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Bills will.
We're pretty much flip flopped on the Bills and Dolphins for the most part. That whole
Yeah,
division, because I have the Bills and Patriots both being wild card teams.
yeah, I don't know.
Oh yeah, the only one I'm pretty much for sure on are the Bills and Titans, because I had pretty much it coming down to either the Patriots or Steelers taking that last wild card spot. Pretty much
I
Patriots.
have a feeling Roethlisberger will get hurt this year.
Yeah, that's that's something I maybe could see happening, but I didn't really want to take injuries or anything like that into consideration.
That or he'll play bad this year and get benched by Dwayne Haskins, which I guess he's playing real good in preseason.
Yeah, I've heard reports that he's been looking pretty good.
But that doesn't mean that sells me
Oh
on
yeah.
him. But with the Super Bowl talk, well, actually, the conference championship um, for the NFC, I think it's going to be Tampa Bay and potentially the Niners or the Rams.
Yeah, I see it. I've been kind of going back and forth on a lot of those teams. I'm pretty high on the Packers, the Rams, and you have to be high on the Bucks because they're just that good. And the 49, going back and forth on the 49ers too. Like those four teams are, really good and all have a lot of the capabilities of making it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, with Aaron Rodgers coming back, that makes a big difference. So that team will be in the mix too.
Oh yeah. I mean, seems like every year he's going to at least the NFC Championship and something goes wrong.
Yeah, but with the AFC, I have obviously the Chiefs are gonna go back, but I'm gonna have a very controversial team to make it in. It's gonna be the Chiefs and the Colts.
I can honestly see it. I like if, you know, Wentz plays at the level he was pretty much traded to play at. That's an easy. That shouldn't even be controversial. But
Which, yeah,
that's pretty big if.
uh, Philip Rivers was very average last year, which I appreciate that he was at least average. they should have beat the Bills last year. And then who did the Bills go on to play?
They went on to play the. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure they ended up going to play the Ravens.
I think the Colts can make it far this year if Wentz doesn't play like a complete idiot and plays like when they went to the Super Bowl that one year before he got injured. He's the one that got him in position to go to the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It wasn't Foles. Foles played like what? What did he play? 3 games, 4 games?
Uh, Something like that at the end of the season. Then played
The Super Bowl.
yeah all through the playoffs and Super Bowl, which they had a bye, so they only played 2 games in the playoffs before the Super Bowl. They played the Vikings and I believe the Rams.
Yeah. Which they all love Wentz. Like the players and stuff. They say he's just like an Andrew Luck. Talent wise, I don't know, but personality wise, I guess.
I mean, I see the similarities even in like play style a little bit.
Who are your teams though?
Um, I'm you have to pick the Chiefs just because they're the team to pretty much beat coming out of the AFC. But I'm kind of going back and forth. That Browns team has a lot of talent on it. It's a matter of how Baker's going to play. But I kind of agree with you on the Colts too. I feel like
The Browns got cheated last year.
oh yeah.
Weren't they playing the Chiefs actually?
They were playing the Chiefs. Chiefs were up kind
They
of
should have
big.
they should have beat them.
Yeah. I mean,
What was it? Peoples Jones dived in. Uh, he hit the ball in the pylon. They called it a fumble and a touchback, and then he got speared in the head at the same time.
yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely. Like what Chiefs were up pretty big that game. Then when Mahomes got hurt, you kind of had that feeling like, oh, are the Browns going to come back and go to the Super Bowl? And it was almost as if just this unlucky Browns stuff started to occur, like that, and then they had to stop them on a third and long where they bootleg it with a old quarterback that really barely has any running capabilities and ends up getting a first down to win it for the Chiefs. Like it just seemed like this bad luck the Browns have had for years and years came back to haunt them.
But who's going to the Super Bowl?
Rams, Chiefs.
They could, but I think it's going to be another Tampa Bay Chiefs, and Tampa Bay will beat the Chiefs again.
Yeah, it was. In all honesty, it definitely will be that. I just wanted to sprinkle a little bit of change into it.
No, it could. The Rams definitely could because they have the
Yeah.
same level, almost the same level tier defense the Bucks have. They have one the best corner. They have the best tackle. Um, Floyd is a very good pass rusher. They have great receivers. So do the Bucks. The only thing they really lack is running back. Henderson's a decent back, but
I mean, Sony
who else
Michelle
did they
knows how to.
sign?
Sony Michelle knows how to get it done in the
Yeah, I forgot.
playoffs.
I forgot he's on the team now. Matthew Stafford's a very good QB. Think his throws through usually. Um,
It's pretty much it's right now for the Rams. They have this pretty much 2 year window to get this done and win a Super Bowl. They
yeah,
traded for all
they're
these
out of
pieces.
they're out of money.
Oh yeah, they have
They've been out of money for years.
z- very little draft picks.
Shoot, they screwed their future when they had Gurley on the team. Probably last Super Bowl they played against the Pats.
Oh yeah,
That's when they really started going downhill, and not like the long term future.
oh yeah.
But yeah, I think it'll be Tampa Bay and Chiefs again.
I can see it.
I don't want it to be like that, but it probably will be.
We're in for pretty good NFL season. There was there's going to be 17 games played now, added 18th week. So we're going to see a lot of possible records get broken. So it'll be interesting to see how much that extra game gets added and how much these stats get increased. But let's talk about some players that might lead some of these categories. Who do you think is going to be the rushing leader for the year?
The rushing, Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, I was pretty much going back and forth with Dalvin Cook, and surprisingly, even though he has to share a lot of the carries, Nick Chubb. I feel like Nick
You know what?
Chubb.
Nick Chubb will be right there behind him.
Oh yeah.
Because Nick Chubb, when he got hurt, he was on the top like 5, 2, 3 weeks after he was hurt.
Oh yeah. Like he played only 12 games and still had over 1,000 yards with 12 touchdowns in 12 games. That's pretty good.
Yeah. He's one of my favorite backs.
Oh yeah. And I feel like, he's a really good back, and bearing any injuries or any, you know, anything else, he has a really good chance to lead the NFL in rushing yards, which helps when you have, one of the best offensive lines too, and a very
Yeah, I take
run-heavy
that
team.
back. Chubb will be because the Browns have the number one offensive line. Colts are like right there with them
Yeah, and that
when they're healthy.
oh yeah, and that was honestly wanting me to make Jonathan Taylor the leading rusher. I kind of went
He'll
with
be
it.
top 5
Oh yeah, definitely.
as long as they let him carry the ball and Reich doesn't go uh, full stupid.
What about receiving? Who do you think's gonna be the leading receiver in yards for the 2021 NFL season?
Well, Stephon Diggs led last year, but I don't think he's gonna hold it again. I think it's gonna be Ridley, Calvin Ridley,
I can honestly see it. I,
because they're gonna double team him. Yeah, but they have another good receiver, that young what's his first name?
Russell
That
Gage,
Gage. Yeah, he's good.
not to mention Pitts, will
Yep,
definitely be pretty explosive.
which will free up Ridley a bit, and he's fast. He has good as hands as Julio. Great route runner, probably one of the best in the league.
Oh yeah,
Who do you got?
I can honestly see Diggs doing it again.
He could. I have him in the top 5.
They. I feel like them adding Emmanuel Sanders will help kind of take a little bit of pressure off of him, so there's not going to be as much eyeball. Like defense are still going to be eyeballing Stephon Diggs, but I feel like with Emmanuel Sanders, and not to mention All-Pro wide receiver Cole Beasley, that you know some of these defenses are going to have to keep an eye on some other players that kind of frees Diggs up even more because he is good.
Well, yeah, and like last year, the receiving, like their yards were really close. Um, what Travis Kelsey was like 100 yards behind Diggs, and then Hopkins was only like, I don't know, 8, 9 yards behind
Oh
Kelsey,
yeah, it was pretty close, and it'll be interesting to
and
see
then
if one of these players can have a really good year, if some records could get broken because of it, the extra game and whatnot.
Jefferson will be up there with them again, but we'll see. Who you got for the passing?
You know, it's hard not to say this man's name, even if it is the obvious choice. But Patrick Mahomes,
Yeah,
he has too many weapons. An amazing offensive scheme. Even if they do try to run it a lot more this year, he's still has a really good chance to put up a lot of high numbers.
I agree. It probably will be him. It could either be him. I think Tom Brady might be up there this year,
Oh yeah,
and
I I kind of was going back and forth between Mahomes and Brady. I feel like Brady might take a little bit more hardware home when it comes to some end of the season awards, but yeah, I feel like it'll be one of them just because of the weapons they have.
yeah, like Brady was only less than 100 yards behind Mahomes last year. Matt Ryan's up there too, and I think he might. I don't know if he'll be better this year, but I
Matt
think he'll still
Ryan
be up there.
Matt Ryan's one of those quarterbacks you kind of see always up there. It's kind of like him, Drew Brees, Philip Rivers, Ben
Yeah,
Roethlisberger.
he doesn't have a choice,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. I think we're in for a very fun NFL season. There's going to be I feel like there's a lot of really good teams out there, and I think it's going to be fun to watch.
Do
Whether
you remember who led passing yards last year?
I believe it not Rodgers?
Deshaun Watson. Rodgers was like eighth, I think.
Ah, well. Oh,
No, he was ninth.
he led the league in touchdowns, I think. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, he got MVP.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't think Watson's going to lead it again this year.
Yeah, I'd say not. Dolphins still want him real bad, but I don't think they want to risk it right now. Which, yeah, if they got Watson, I would totally agree the Dolphins would be taking that by landslide, the AFC East.
But yeah, there's too many questions that need answered, I feel like, before a team can truly go out and trade for Deshaun Watson.
Well, I don't think the Dolphins are really that high on Tua. I think they're like, okay, he's a QB. Well, young QB might develop a little bit
Oh yeah.
if if he does.
Yeah, I feel like he'll have a pretty good year. It's just, you always have to there's a reason left-handed quarterbacks don't exist.
Yeah, I'm not very high on him, but
We'll see, by the end of the year or even by midseason, we'll see how either crazy or true these predictions have been. But you have anything else you want to tell the people?
um, I guess we can talk about the comeback player. Who do you have?
I kind of, I, it was hard to pick one because it just there's a lot of players out there, Dak, Joe Burrow, just to name couple. But I feel like after the injury he had, I feel like Saquon Barkley might put up some really good numbers and make him the comeback player of the year.
He could, but I don't like that O line. I wish he would get out of New York, but Joe Burrow also doesn't have a good O line. He's probably gonna break his other knee this year.
Hopefully
But
not.
Dak, now that I think about it, I originally had Joe Burrow as mine, but I think Dak will be that player this year. Um when he's playing, that Cowboys team is different, a different team. The O line's back. Um, I think Zach Martin will miss the first game, but
Yeah, which
because he got put on
that'll be
that
pretty big.
stupid, yeah, he got put on that stupid COVID list. But
Yeah, it'll.
I think he'll be Dak.
Oh yeah. I can. I. We talked a lot about it with the quarterbacks, but he he comes back and shows that injury is completely gone and healed up. He'll put up some really good numbers. That offense is really good, and with the healthy offensive line and the not COVID listed offensive line too, it'll be pretty good. It'll be a pretty good year for Dak.
I agree. Is that all we got to talk about?
Yeah, that's all I have.
Right on.
Make sure to Follow the Instagram at our Audible Sportscast and the Twitter at AudibleSC. Then like, comment, share, tell all your friends and family about us. Have them listen, have a good time, talk about sports.
Subscribe and hit that bell notification symbol so you get notified when we have new content coming out.
Oh yeah, and be on the lookout. Next week we're going to try to give you 2 a week, so we'll see how that goes and give you plenty of stuff to talk and listen about while the NFL games all start up.
But I'll see you next time.
Have a good one, everybody.